Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the composite chart aspects, Sun square or opposite to Jupiter in the composite chart. So I'm talking about the midpoint composite chart or the Davison relationship chart, whichever you prefer. So not the synastry, not the comparing one person's chart to the other. I'm talking about the actual chart that is made when you combine the two birth charts. So the chart of the relationship itself. And yeah, you guys requested these ones, and I've had the square in a few relationships and in my current relationship, and also I've had the opposition before too. So I actually think that these are very good aspects to see. You can't really have a bad Jupiter aspect in anything really. I mean, the worst thing that can come from a difficult Jupiter aspect like these ones is that it can be, over optimism or encouraging like risky behavior in each other. So these aspects, when you have them in the composite chart, you really have to study the rest of the composite chart as a whole, because all of it is going to be like doubled or like expanded on. So, because the sun is the most important or most significant planet in the composite chart, it's kind of like the guiding light. When you have an aspect like this, you can really overdo the rest of the composite chart. So, like, if there is an abundance of hard aspects in the composite chart and you have this, it's going to make all of those kind of more emphasized as well as all of the other, easy or beneficial aspects you have in the composite chart, as well as the natal potentials of each person will also be expanded. So, you can really see a wide variety of potentials with aspects like these, but it makes the egos bigger in both people. Now, this can be a really good thing if we've got like some more passive people, or maybe people with like Sun Neptune aspects in the natal chart, or Pisces, or someone who might not have a strong sense of identity or self, and then you throw in these aspects in the composite chart, and then this relationship causes you to be a bigger, bolder version of yourself where you take up more space and all of that. But now if we're seeing it with people that already have really strong personalities, then you might get together in this relationship and it's just this huge ego fest, and there can be ego battles. There can be, like an overinflation of one's abilities, or if there's like, a Jupiterian or Sagittarian kind of energy in each natal birth chart of the people, you could see like recklessness and like dangerous behaviors even with aspects like these. So these are just some of the manifestations of these aspects. Now, the opposition is always going to be easier than a square, although it's even more intense because it's like in the order of like the aspect strength is like the conjunction is the strongest, then the opposition, then the square. So the opposition is even stronger in these themes, but more easily resolved and more easily harmonized. The square is going to be more of just a constant form of tension and restlessness that can come up in the relationship. And it's less easily resolved, more potentially frustrating than the opposition, which is potentially a bigger deal, but more easily harmonized, if that makes sense. But they're very similar in these themes. That's why I put them together in this video, because the themes are quite similar. Although, always as a rule, the opposition is like stronger but easier, if that makes sense. So, yeah, with these aspects too, something that I didn't realize, I actually learned this from Jewel Mayberry. She's amazing. She's another astrologer, one of the only astrologers that I actually follow for this kind of thing. But she told me that it can show like religious or like political differences, or like ideological differences in the two people, and that definitely rings true. You can definitely have some very different beliefs from your partner when you have these aspects in the composite chart, and It doesn't seem to be that big of a problem though, because you generally like each other a lot and see a lot of good in each other, even despite these differences. Because, like, the square aspect specifically, too, is showing, yeah, that there's maybe a different background that you're coming from, or different, like, one of you's gone to university, one of you hasn't, or one of you belongs to this religion or political affiliation and the other one doesn't, or there's stuff like that going on that could be showing differences, but it doesn't, unless like there's other squares going on to like Saturn or Pluto in the composite chart, it doesn't really show that like you hate each other because of it, but it does show that there is belief differences in the couple. And that actually could act to make it even more exciting being together, because Jupiter always expands. So, like, your perception of life and with these new ideas with this partner that you're with, that's kind of coming from this different place, it's actually like expansive to you. It could open your mind to new things. And you might not necessarily change your mind. You might still think they're wacko, but you respect it, and it, like, yeah, it opens your mind, it opens your perception. So that can be a really good thing as well, or a really challenging thing with people who are not very open minded. You're going to be relating with someone who's just got some crazy ideas about things, and that could be annoying with other aspects that are harsher or showing, more fighting. Um, so that's one manifestation of it. And another manifestation of it is definitely that you have a lot of excitement and like enthusiasm in this relationship. And sometimes you'll find that like plans don't get realized. Like, you get together and within a week you're like, okay, we're going to travel here, we're going to take this course, or we're going to live together, we're going to have this combined hobby or creative pursuit, or this is what our relationship's going to look like. And you have all these plans and they don't ever become actualized. That can be a manifestation of it. So you can, in some cases, see this in a relationship that does not ever become committed or like get off the ground. And maybe one person doesn't understand why, because it's like you have all these expectations, all this positive energy that it feels like you have, and then the relationship doesn't become concrete. You could see that if you don't have like Saturn aspects in the composite chart, or you don't have general like other compatibility in the synastry. You could definitely see that there's a lot of like plans that never become realized. But what I realized, like, I had this in one of my early relationships. Like, we always, like, my first love, I had this with him, and we always like had all these plans. Like, at the very beginning we were like, we're gonna go to the zoo and we're gonna do this and that. And we just never did any of that. And it was never like that we had any hard feelings about it or whatever. I mean, we did eventually not continue to date. This was like when I was a teenager, but that was like the biggest thing that I can think about this aspect, is like that at the very beginning we had all these plans, like, yeah, we're going to go to the zoo, we're going to do this. And we just didn't end up doing any of that. Like, we did a lot of stuff, but it just never ended up being that stuff that we planned. Right. And you could also see it as like, this is something I'm noticing now too, is that like you have different ideas about where you want to travel. Like, one of you wants to go here and the other one thinks, well, that won't really be that fun to go there. So it's like, well, one of you might have to compromise, because if you're going to actually be a couple and, do things together, you might have to go travel somewhere you don't want to go to, or have to listen to them talk about this belief that they have that you do not share, right? Like, that's just a part of a relationship. So you might have to compromise on these certain things that are kind of like Jupiterian related. And you could also look at the house placements in the composite chart of like the Sun and Jupiter, and you can see like where the conflict kind of is, because what I'm saying is just like generalize like all of the placements, but like it will get more specific depending on like the areas that these planets are in the composite chart. But yeah, like overall, it's a very fun aspect, and like you definitely have a lot of exuberance. Like I said, you have a lot of confidence, you have a lot of joy together. You're kind of bubbly. Like, you can be overconfident. Like, if you're usually a shy person or withdrawn, and then you get together with this person and you're just very like Jupiterian. You're just like outgoing and you're expansive and you're thinking about the future, and you're it's very good feeling aspects actually to have these, and you generally get something out of it. You get like a change in perspective, or you get wisdom, or you get some sort of blessing in your life from this relationship. So, don't be freaked out about Jupiter hard aspects. They're usually like they show some differences for sure, like that I've outlined, but they still carry that Jupiterian flavor, and sometimes more so because they are hard aspects. So yeah, that's my experience, or my yeah write up or video on Sun, Jupiter square or opposite in the composite chart. I'd love to hear your experiences of these aspects. If you've had them, let me know in the comments, you guys. I love talking with you guys, and thank you for the requests. We'll talk soon. Bye.